I forgot to click the button. Welcome to Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm Kristen Johnson.
How are you guys? Happy Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday, yes. Yes.
How's it going out there? We got a really cool show. We want to talk a little bit. We haven't done the cryptid of the week in a while.
Yeah.
And there was a news story this week about a sort of cryptid. It's not really a cryptid. It's an extinct animal.
Yeah.
They found the fossils of the Ichthyosaur, the largest ones found in the UK. And I'll read a little of this. If I can find my link here from livescience.com. Enormous sea dragon. That's where the cryptid part comes in. Fossil from 180 million years ago, discovered in England. And this thing was huge and pretty well intact. The fossil looks pretty amazing. It was literally 33 feet long. The remains of the monstrous sea dragon that swam in the seas when dinosaurs were alive some 180 million years ago have been unearthed on a nature reserve in England. The behemoth is the biggest and most complete fossil of its kind ever discovered in the UK. It is truly an unprecedented discovery and one of the greatest finds in British paleontological history. Excavation leader Dan Lomax, a paleontologist and visiting scientist at the University of Manchester, said. So that thing is really cool looking. Let me see if I can share a picture of what it was supposed to look like. All this technology, babe.
Oh, babe.
I'm telling you.
Even get me started.
Let's see. Share screen. All right. There you see. There's the what it would have looked like. Which is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Kind of a dolphin-y kind of. We were talking about Flipper last week, right?
Yes, we were. Ricky, yes.
That's Flipper's grandfather there, great-grandfather. Anyways.
Hello, Anne-Marie Young. She saw that dragon. She's on top of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of dragons, yes.
Comments. Hi, Liz Milne. Hey, Anne-Marie. Hi from Scotland.
Hello, Liz Milne. Hello, Greg Koss.
Great to see you guys. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to get right to things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll do that. So that's our cryptid of the week anyways. But this week we have Matt Warren is joining us. He was born and raised in the Bridgewater Triangle in southeastern Massachusetts. All right, from where we're from as well. Out here in the Triangle, Matt has grown up with a fascination of the paranormal, horror, and all things that go bump in the night. Unexplained incidents growing up led to him further to explore these things. And we will talk about that because that is a hot topic here on Dark Horse Paranormal. Haunted childhoods, and he has been seeking answers as well as fun for over 20 years. He's an avid traveler and haunted collector, and has amassed a nice collection of personal experiences, as well as an ever-growing collection of oddities, the macabre, and enchanted objects. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Great to see you again. How are your family?
All is good.
Growing.
Awesome.
Growing it is, yes.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Yeah. A few months to go until the newborn's coming. So.
It's wonderful.
Oh, you must be excited.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you picked out a name yet? Have you picked out a name?
Yes. Her name will be Callie Jo.
Oh,
nice.
So cute.
Nice.
So pretty.
I like that.
Yeah, we're excited for it. It's going to be quite a different year this year than last.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. This Christmas is going to get bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bank account's going to shrink even more.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wow. Some comments out there. So, no, in your bio there, it describes that you had some experiences as a child. And we're big on that because we find a lot of guests, have these kind of, including ourselves, have these kind of haunted childhood experiences. It seems like something that is in almost all cases, not everybody, but most 9 out of 10, maybe more than that. What happened to you? What do you remember?
So I had a couple of things when I was younger, and they weren't like terrifying or anything like that. It was one of those. I think we've all had those experiences. We kind of just brush it off as our mind playing tricks on us. And growing up, the couple things that happened, I assumed that was the case. I remember, I'd have to say I was probably maybe 8 or 10 years old. And I remember laying in bed one night. I don't remember if I had fallen asleep and woken up or whatever, but I was laying in bed and my bed was against the wall that the door was on at the other end. And the door was, slightly ajar. And behind the door, I saw this mass shadow. It wasn't like a black shadow, but it was a shadow of some sorts. But it wasn't floor to ceiling. It was only from the second half of the door up to the ceilings. Like it was floating. And I kind of looked at it. I was like, as a kid, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Probably just tired. Went to bed. Hi, Liz. So kind of brushed that off. Now, growing up, my grandparents lived next door to me. And I was very fortunate with that because I could go there every day after school and eat all the food I wanted without any disregard for my life because my Nana would feed me everything. So I spent a lot of time there, and their house was haunted. And they believe that I, as an adult now, believe that it was my great-grandmother who's haunting the house because she passed away in it. I never had any experiences in the house, but they would tell me stories, and they just called the ghost Casper. It's like, oh, Casper did this, Casper did that. So it was always an accepted thing in my family, which was nice. It wasn't, we weren't shunned for it or anything. So I always had the fascination of it. And I was young when Ghostbusters came out. So, of course, I'm fascinated with Ghostbusters. And then horror movies just came naturally to me. So I remember this same Nana had gotten me. She was the one, if you were in the store, she would buy you whatever you wanted. I could be like, hey, you get me this machete? Yeah, sure. It didn't matter. Like, she was awesome like that. So she used to buy me all the VHS and records I wanted. And that's how old I am, folks.
We understand.
We understand that.
Yes.
She
We
bought
made
me
many
the
trips to the local video store.
construction record. She bought me the Blizzard of Oz. So that kind of gives me an idea.
Oh, nice. Hey, same here, man.
Yep.
Yeah, she
My
was
grandmother
awesome.
bought me Ozzy records and like Black Sabbath when I was a kid. I was in middle
Nothing
school.
wrong with them. They were great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember, I think we were at Kmart, and there's a movie called The Ghoulies, and it looked creepy. I was like, oh, Nana, I want to get this, and she bought me this movie. And I've seen the movie as an adult, and it's a flaming pile of crap. It's horrible.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But I remember watching it as a child, and if you don't know what it's about these weird little creatures that like come out of the toilet and stuff. So
There was a toilet on the cover, right? I picture it. There's a toilet and there's like one of the creatures, like peeking out or something.
And I remember watching this movie, and I was scared to go to the bathroom for like a week. But I couldn't tell my mom why I was scared of the bathroom because she'd be pissed at Nana. So I had to keep that under wraps and just I got over it. But that was my earliest remembrance of actually being scared of something. So it kind of fascinated me. I've always had a fascination with being scared because it's one of those, it's the only emotion you don't know how you're going to react. Sad, you're going to cry. Happy, you're going to laugh. Upset, you're just going to be pissed off. But scared, you don't know if you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to run. So it's always fascinated me. So I always, from that point on, was really into horror movies. And as I got a little bit older, shows like Sightings came out, and then Unsolved Mysteries came out, and I soaked those shows up. And I remember with Unsolved Mysteries, every October they'd have that creepy episode where it's like, ooh, they're talking about ghosts and things. Like, this is different. It's not this lady went missing. It's like, oh, there's a ghost hitchhiker. This is cool. So this was also before the internet. And I just would get books. I'd go to the library. I'd ask for books for my birthday and for Christmas on all the spooky stuff I could find. And I have, a bunch of the Hans Holzer books and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris too.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, they're great reference points.
To this day, I'll take a compass with me to an investigation, and that comes from reading Hans Holzer.
He was so beyond his years,
Yes.
and very smart. And I remember when Ghost Hunters debuted, and it was like, holy crap, this is a thing. Like, I just, you didn't know about it at that point. And then all of a sudden they have a show. It's like, people can do this and it's not weird. Like, I didn't have any friends that were into it because they just didn't believe in ghosts. So then at that point, it's like, oh, there's more to it. And then I was getting books about local legend and lore and things, and just starting exploring things. And another experience I had around this period of time, I think I was about 14 or 15, when I'm much more aware of my surroundings. I happened to be laying in bed, and I had moved rooms, so this was a different room. My bed was here, and the TV was like angled off to the side. And I was just flipping late night, and all of a sudden on the TV screen in the bottom corner was this silver like face. The only way I can describe it is kind of like Jambi from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Okay.
But it was silver and it wasn't funny. So, but it was, and it wasn't like where the TV was, you'd think it'd be looking that way, but it was looking directly at me, making eye contact with me. And I was like, oh man, what the hell? Like, it didn't make sense. And I was old enough to realize that wasn't part of the show and it wasn't mine. So I was like, I shut the TV off. I was good at that point. And by that, also at that age, I had already read a ton of books. So I knew there was much more to the paranormal than as a 6 or 7 year old I had. So I was like, all right, I need to do some more research on things. And I had found a book. I think it was in Weird, Massachusetts, which I think everybody has the book for their state.
Mm-hmm.
And I read about this road that was not far from where I lived that had all these reports of all these things happening. And, oh, you see UFOs, you see, giant Native Americans, totems, Bigfoot, Thunderbirds, everything. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I went and found this road. And the road itself it kind of cuts through what used to be Native American land, which you guys are fairly local. So everything was native land at one point.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, it was.
So this is still protected conservation land. And the road itself, half of it goes through a really nice neighborhood with really nice houses. And then the other half is like a rough cut-through road that goes to another main road. So I would say I went down this road 70 or 100 times before anything happened to me there. And as a bored teenager, you got nothing better to do. So it's like, hey, let's go down the road tonight and drive up and down it. So what we would do is we would drive down it. And instead of using the cut through at the end, we'd just turn around and go back and get that double dose. So the one night we went down there, it was me and a friend. And this friend was a scared person. He didn't like ghosts and paranormal and stuff. He just had nothing better to do but to ride around with me. So he was stuck going. And it was really warm. It was January. There was no snow, there was no precipitation, ground was dry. And we went down there. I got out of work. I remember I got out of work and we went probably about 8:30 at night. We were driving down there. And I said to him, hey, you know what I'm going to do tonight? I said, I'm going to stop in the middle of the road and just turn the lights off. And he goes, yeah, don't do that to me. Please don't do that.
Poor guy.
And of course, I'm just like, yeah, bud, I'm not going to do that to you. I promise. Like, of course I'm going to do that to you. So we're cruising down the road. We get into the abandoned part of it, the wooded part of it, and we've got the windows cracked a little bit because, like I said, it was fairly warm. And we get to the end, turn around. I'm driving back, and we get to about the halfway point of the desolate part of the road, and I'm slowing down. And he's like, "Come on, no, don't do this." I'm like, don't worry about it.
Please, no.
Yeah, and I put my foot on the pedal, bring the truck to a complete stop, and I turn my lights off. Now, the second that I turn my lights off, right in front of my truck on the hood, I see two white hands, white arms. I got up to the shoulder. I never saw a head because I freaked out, and I turned the lights on, and I floored it. My truck
ran it over.
would move. It just sat there.
hilarious.
The wheels are spinning, and I'm losing my shit at this point.
Oh, yeah.
What to do? And he's like, dude, what are you doing? I said, I'm not doing this. And then all of a sudden, the truck moves and it goes, but it doesn't go straight. It goes as if it was shoved. So now the truck goes this way. So now I'm back and forth with the wheel. My buddy's screaming at me, "Don't do this to me! Don't do this to me!" I look over at us. I'm not even in control of this. There's nothing I can do about this. After the last second, basically, I'm able to pull the wheel and avoid smashing into a huge tree off to the side of the road. We went through this residential neighborhood at about 60 miles an hour.
Oh, my God.
Got to the main road, kept on going for a mile or two without any thought. This was early cell phone days, so I did have a cell phone. And we pulled over on the side of this main road, and I said to him, I said, all right, so what the hell, what did you just see? And he said, there was a woman in a white dress standing in front of your truck. I said, yeah, that's exactly what I saw too. And it freaked us out. He's not been back. Thank you, Liz. He's not been back to this day. I didn't go back for like 5 years. And
Wow.
the first person I called was my mom, because my mom
Really?
she used to do the road too, because her and her boyfriend at the time and my younger brother, they would just go up and down the road because they had nothing better to do also, because they kind of like the idea. And the crazy thing about it is one night I knew they were going up there, and I had a friend drop me and my friend in the woods, and we jumped out and scared them. So now I'm like, man, that's real. That's some straight up karma right there.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of is. You were torturing your friend. You dragged him out, and he's like, "Nah, I don't want to do this."
Definitely.
You know, he's probably a little psychic, and he just
There you
knew
go.
this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
You know, and there you go. So
That's
can
what
you
I
ask
got
me
that.
what road that was and what town?
That
This
was
would-
what's that?
Dayton, would it?
No, it's
What-
not Titan. It was Milton.
Okay.
In Milton. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's haunted roads,
I was gonna say we had
Yeah.
100 roads.
different
Oh, yeah.
places. But that's a great story.
I was
Love
about 19, and that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to be investigating this stuff now, and I've been investigating it since in my own ways. So
And there you go.
That's
Nice.
great. That's great. No, I see we have a lot of common interests. That's so funny. I remember my grandmother buying me Diary of a Madman, and I had the record, the vinyl back in the day. And it's funny, now I have a son, and he's going to be 15 this weekend, and he's into records. Like, I wish I
Great,
still
isn't
had all my old records. I've
Yeah.
gotten rid of so much stuff. I mean, hang on to your stuff, guys.
Yeah.
I really regret it. I see you've got some EC comics behind you. And yeah.
those are actually they're all they're done in the style of the DC horror comics. One of the tattoo artists that I go to, he does those for all the horror movies.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like an EC.
There,
These comics. I had a couple of those back in the day. I had some comics I collected. I wish I still had them.
Exactly.
Yeah, the horror comics are actually banned for a while. That's interesting.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing about that. Yeah,
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. That's cool. And I see you got the pop figures. We got a couple of on the shelf up there. There's a golden Lemmy Kilmister
Oh, there you go.
behind us. Yep, from Motorhead. Rest
Yep.
in peace, Lemmy.
I was glad I got to see them when I did.
Yeah, you got to see him. I never saw Motorhead, and I saw a lot of metal bands. For whatever reason, I never saw him.
I got
But,
to see them. They were at a Mayhem festival one year that I went to, so I got to.
Nice.
witness that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, it reminds us. Next Thursday, we're going to be off, folks. We might run a show, but we're going to be at Evanescence
Yes, we are.
Ooh,
in Hailstorm. Which,
Yeah.
you're
it's a good
And
bill.
Ramon-
in April, we'll
men.
be seeing Godsmack. Thank you.
yeah,
Finally.
going to Godsmack.
I'll be at that show.
Were you?
Yeah,
Are you
going up.
as well? Good. Well,
My
Yeah,
recent
we'll be there.
house already.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But so yeah, you had these kind of things. It was an acceptable thing growing up,
Mhm.
and we can relate to that. And my mom kind of liked these things, though. We had some pretty harrowing experiences. Kristen had even worse experiences,
Yeah.
but it does seem to
Traumatizing.
kindle this kind of interest. Like you kind of want to put the pieces together of why did that really happen? Was that real? And all that kind of stuff. And it just seems to be a common trait in paranormal researchers as they mature and get older. So
We all start somewhere.
yeah, right. Even if you didn't ask for
Right.
it.
Exactly.
So you grew up around the Bridgewater Triangle. I know you're somewhat local. I'm not sure where you live now.
Mhm.
We saw you over at Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving
Yes.
at Sanito
Yeah, with James
and Celine.
and Celine, and we had lots of good turkey. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
was
cool.
Carl
It was.
Johnson and Keith.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. We all managed to do that and then not get the COVID.
Yes.
I think we did just in time. All right, it got a lot worse. We got a lot of sick
It
friends.
is getting bad.
It is really bad. I mean, with the schools open, our kids are like super spreaders, as it is. So.
Yeah.
I work part time in a school, and I'm terrified being there every day. I'm like, oh, like
Oh.
they're gross normally. Never mind now.
Right.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, totally understand.
Yes.
But in a way, I'm kind of glad they're back because it's been good for
Socialization and everything.
psychological reasons.
Yes.
All that homeschooling was not doing our kids very.
No,
Very
but we
good.
definitely agree with you. I can't imagine working at a school right now.
Lots of friends out here. And
Oh, yes.
Sandy says, my son loves Hailstorm. Oh, there you go. Yep, I'm going to check them out. I see you got a hello from Ken Allen of the Wizards Table.
We have to
He's,
sing it.
One of our favorite people. Gail Heisen, small medium at large. How you doing, Gail? Good to see you.
Hello,
I see
my
Michelle
love.
messaged us. So
Yes,
we'll
she
look
did.
at
We'll
that.
have to look at that.
And Michelle Freed, who was our guest on New Year's Eve with Deborah Katz. Joshua Babel, hello. How's it going? If you guys got any questions, excuse me. I am getting over a normal cold.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I know.
You-
Right? I catch a normal cold.
That's what my.
Still have those?
Everybody's got.
How do you get
COVID.
a cold and we're so like anal about not getting the COVID? I don't understand anything.
Oh, Anne Marie's saying she just got over it. Stupid COVID.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh goodness.
No. So, all right. So let's pick this up. So, a teenager, you have this experience, the haunted road. What happens next for you?
After that, I started digging into more of. I basically watched every paranormal show that ever happened after that, wanting to know more, wanting to try and learn whatever I could about the field, whatever I could do to research it, and more books. I didn't really have any like-minded friends that were into it, so it was kind of a solo mission, so to speak. And I didn't find that group of people until the last 5 years, and that's when I really started hitting my stride and being more public with it. Because I know it's one of those things that people get up in arms, like, "Oh, you've been investigating for 20 years. Like, I've never heard of you." It's like, who gives a shit? You didn't have to hear about me. I mean, did I have to put out an advertisement that I was an investigator? No. Now people just know who I am because I'm more public about it, and that's the only difference. So once I found my tribe, so to speak, full bore. Now I have so many people to do it with and to go out and enjoy this with, and I still have fun doing it. So I don't see any stopping in my future. I've learned to really block out all the nonsense that pisses the average person off. So it doesn't even resonate with me anymore. So
very well put.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Wow.
That's great.
Man,
I'm still alive, Rosie.
Yes.
It's getting some like actual Nazi spam on our YouTube channel.
Again,
there.
I just want to check
I saw that. I'm like, all right, that's like cool, right?
That's not cool. No.
Oh, I have to.
I just reported that as spam. We get a lot of bots on YouTube. YouTube seems to
They suck.
just draw the bots and Nazis apparently now. That's new. Yeah. What the hell? What the hell, Google?
No, what the heck? Yeah, Dark Horse. YouTube. Wait, get this out of here.
So you're working on a new location. I don't know how much you can talk about this, but
yeah. So I'm in the well, it's not even the early stages right now. I wouldn't. It's not the final stages, but we're closing in. There's a location not very far from me that I've known about for quite some time as being haunted. And it's a place that's historical and has a lot of value to it. And finally, the stars aligned, and I got to talk to the right people about, hey, I know you could use some money to keep this place afloat. Why don't you let me come in and run some low-key ghost hunts here and rent it out to people that preserve and respect history, and we'll put some money in this place. And I spoke to the right people last month. That's where I was earlier. I had my second meeting with this group tonight. And now my next step is to bring in my team and a few others that I've selected. And we're going to start laying the groundwork and building to the stories and trying to capture some evidence so we can really build it up. And from there, we'll start offering a few nights out of the month. People can come in and rent the place and do some research.
Oh, it's awesome. It's wonderful.
Now, what is it exactly that, or what was it historically?
So the building itself, I can't really get into what it is just yet. It was built in the the later 1800s. It was completed in 1899. It is a 3-story building if you're counting the attic, but it's got a full basement with a shooting range in it.
Wow.
Got a first floor. The second floor is this grand ballroom, and the third floor attic is a full-scale ceiling height, like creepy horror movie attic that is just something out of nightmares. It's a fantastic place, and I've heard about this place for years because a friend of mine was fortunate enough to investigate it a very long time ago. The only team ever allowed in. So I'd known about its history, but also all these people that volunteer and work at it have had experiences and have seen things. And that was the people I really wanted to talk to. So in the past 2 meetings, I've really gotten some backstory and about the things that these people are seeing there. There's no way we're not going to have experiences. So
that sounds really cool. So is it like I don't know if you can say this, is it a bed and breakfast or like a private residence? It has a historical group. They tend to be like museums and things of that nature.
It's almost a museum.
Okay.
So it's not a B&B or a private residence. It's owned. I think it's technically owned by the town that it's in, but it's run by like a historical society type of group.
Well, that sounds exciting. That's cool.
My driving force for a long time has been historical preservation and restoration. And anytime that what whether I go to a place, pay the money to get in, and it goes to them putting in a new window, or if I run an event, that money goes to helping fix a roof. That to me is a win, and that's what I like doing in the field. So this is everything to me. Being able to help them continue this building on, preserve history, and then I have exclusive rights to be the one running the place. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And I know you do a lot of that work. You raised quite a bit of money last year. I think you posted something recently about that.
Yeah,
from going and doing events and traveling, and yeah.
I have my detractors, but I think we all do. But at the end of the day, a lot of people like I consider myself a thrill seeker in the paranormal. I'm not trying to do residentials. I'm not trying to, help the average person. Like my drive is the historical stuff. But I'm also going to these locations because I want personal experiences. This is a hobby for me, and hobbies are supposed to be fun, and that's what I find fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've got great friends that do it, so we have a good time. So a lot of people kind of look down on it. I'm also very vocal about the fact that I'd love to be on television, and for some reason, that just makes people so uptight.
Right, because they haven't been on television.
Right.
I don't understand the reasoning behind it. People, I love the old, if you're doing it for TV, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. There's a right reason. It's my reason, at the end of the day. Like if you're doing it because you want to help people, good for you. That's not the right reason to me, but I'm not going to say it isn't.
They're all good reasons.
It is. The field's hilarious when you dissect it. It really is. And so I'm excited for the opportunity, honestly.
I've said this before on the air. I find that there are a lot of people out there just seeming to be scrambling to get like a little bit of money on the table. There's just only like a little bit of money out there, and they're all reaching for it, and you can get so obsessed with that you miss the fun factor. And you should enjoy it. If you do the stuff, you generally have a passion for it. You should enjoy it, and I absolutely have nothing against wanting to be on TV. I would not mind being on TV. We have a show on the internet,
Exactly.
They want to put it on channel 12, go right ahead.
I love all that stuff. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. And Angela, you are correct.
Yeah, lots of comments out there. Ian says, and I got a light here on the way. Warner Paranormal Explorers has been the best experience. I am not on any one team, but I have had the chance to join a few local investigations. Matt brings a different energy while maintaining the integrity, and integrity is absolutely important. And Angela Mason says Huff Paranormal is a joke, and I'm going to agree with you, Angela.
Yep.
Fuck them.
Yes. That guy is a total scammer.
I love ITC. I really do.
We do.
And I love spirit box stuff. Don't fake it. There's enough real things that happen. There's no need to fake anything.
Yep.
Angela also says, I saw a cross burnt on my mom's hand when she was touched by a possessed person. True story. And then she asked to talk about shadow people. Shadow people, is that a thing that you've experienced, Matt?
I've never seen someone abducted by one.
Well, there you go.
That's crazy. I mean, Amy Allen, she's interesting anyways. Her face, I can't watch that show because of the facial expressions she makes. Like she's so animated sometimes. It's like, man, it takes away from it. I've seen shadow people. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, John, I've seen shadow people. I see them actually more and more as I become more aware of my, so-called abilities. It's almost like the blinders are opening up a little bit more as I get into things and allow myself to open up. I've been told for years that I have abilities, and it's like, yeah, sure I do. But as I've gotten older, I realize I do. I'm just not ready. I don't want to be like the Sixth Sense and see dead people everywhere I go. I can't mentally handle that crap, and I don't want to.
Nope,
yeah.
I agree.
I'm still so closed off. I'm not there yet, but I will eventually. One of the things I'm working on for myself this year is meditation and opening things up.
Yeah. Us too. We're into a gateway right now.
Yeah.
The Hemisink gateway meditations. Have you heard about those?
I haven't even started scratching the surface, so I know now I know whose brains to pick.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll send you
please.
some information. It's real interesting. The CIA actually investigated this Hemisink, and the Hemisink is like, it's supposed to be the hemispheres of your brain syncing. So the tones are slightly different in each ear. You have to use headphones with it, and it really does do something
Or
to your head. And they're very cool.
I'm interested to hear about
You
it.
may be living in a holographic universe. If you actually complete all these, you'll see it and have out of body experiences. That's pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely.
I'll send you some stuff on that. I think you'll like that.
By the second one, I was already I felt my abilities better. Like they bettered.
Yeah, things have been
Nice.
happening. And
Yeah.
Kristen is like the more psychically inclined one, just naturally. She tries to turn it down, or I got to work at everything, which just sucks. But
Stop it. You do.
that's how it goes. And yeah, she's getting a lot out of them too. So we're enjoying that. We're gonna start talking about the experiences we have with the Gateway actually on the show.
Awesome.
John's
wrong.
said real chicken wings have bones, Matt Warner.
See, the problem is John and a few other of my friends, like, I don't eat bone-in chicken. It's disgusting. It's messy, and I don't like getting messy hands. So I like, where we're from, they're called boneless tenders. Am I wrong? Well,
Yeah.
Boneless wings. That pisses, he's out in Ohio. It pisses him off because they don't do that out there. I was like, why don't
wings?
They're boneless, dude.
See where he's coming from. Yeah.
You know, like it is what it is. And he's like, nope, doesn't work. I'm like, whatever. You eat your messy ass chicken. I'll keep clean hands.
They are messy. I like them myself, but I hear you.
I'd rather have the boneless any day. I like them.
Yeah, 100%. If you put a plate of bone-in chicken in front of me, I'm probably not even going to touch it.
Wow. Yeah, I think the bone gives it a little more flavor. You know, give me the carcass. I don't care.
It's just the mess. The sticky fingers make me so upset.
Send me the link. Anne-Marie says, and thank you, Anne-Marie, for the stars.
200 stars. Thank you, Anne.
Appreciate that. Appreciate this. Whatever platform you're watching us on, we do appreciate you donating the stars if that's an option.
John, are you even kidding me with the Ohio greater than Mass thing? Like, it's not even worth the argument.
I like the chicken combo. Another comment here from Tom McDonald says, do believers that there is a hierarchy or rank when it comes to shadow people and the reports of them being seen? A hierarchy or rank, like what, like demons and angels, that kind of thing?
Oh, I kind of see so I'm assuming you mean by like if they have a hat on, they're more higher ranking. That's an interesting theory I've never even thought about before.
Wow, neither have I.
A lot of the shadow people are reported as having like that wide brim hat type of thing. Like the ones that I've seen they literally just look like, you know, like the Michael Myers ghost in a sheet, but in black. That's kind of how I've seen him, as a black mass.
Yeah, we've seen those. I've also seen the Hat Man, which our friend Heidi Hollis coined.
Yeah. We've had her on to talk about Hat Man, and she's authority on Hat Man.
I've seen both. It's not pleasant. They're very negative.
That's part of her childhood
feeling
issues.
Yes, John. Boneless wings are chicken tenderloins. Chicken nuggets are rib meat. For Christ's sakes, we've had this conversation. Stop it.
This is awesome.
Yeah, wings take bones, man. He's got a point.
Yeah, but I'm actually with him. I like what he's saying.
What you prefer, you know. You tend to get a little more chicken in those chicken tenders, though, right?
It's all chicken. There's no waste of pile of
that's right. And
tendons and gross things you're not supposed to eat. Like,
so you get those like little pigeon wings.
Oh God, we had a conversation about that the other night. That was so funny. It's like they look like pigeons.
Angela says she believes there is a ranking in the spirit world.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That may well be, you know.
I don't see why there couldn't be.
No. Can't say for sure. I mean, so much is speculation, but you have the experiences. You try to put those pieces together. We're always, our quest is like figure out how the hell does all this work. We believe in an afterlife. It's been proven to us. We believe science has proved it. We talk a lot about parapsychology and have different parapsychologists on the show, and they show you, you know, things like telepathy has been proven in labs. Absolutely, a remote viewing is something that we're into, and that's really cool. And I can't tell you why it works. We just appear to all be connected, and there seems to be an afterlife. You know, you can't debunk everything.
Yeah, and we all try. I mean, the good ones try.
Exactly.
That's what we do. Debunk, and then go, oh, well, you can't really debunk it. So
not everything's a go.
My favorite thing is debunking someone's stuff. Like it's a real shitty way to live, but I love doing it to people. The thing I hate the most, and we all see it every day. What do you see in this picture? I don't see anything in your.
Oh my God! then you put a red circle around it. It gets even better.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the red circle. You didn't see that?
No. Lens. Oh.
You know, if you need the red circle, it's not a good picture.
No.
Right.
There was a couple of questions that I saw for Anne Marie. What do I do? What do I do to prepare before I go on an investigation? I don't do a lot. I make sure that my equipment is ready, basically charged for what I'm using. But I prefer, like, if we're going in with my team, Courtney, who's on my team, she does all the research. I like to go in blind. I don't like to know any history. If I'm going to a big known place, I know the history, but I would rather know nothing about the location and let the evidence speak for itself and corroborate if it is in fact what we're supposed to be encountering.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do much except make sure that, like, I don't ground myself out or anything. I have some bracelets that I wear that have Reiki energy infused in them. I carry some crystals. And I just set my intentions. I kind of walk into a place and I'll say, you can't come with me. You can use my energy to communicate, but you have to stay here. And that seems to work for me. It's really about your intentions and how you set things in terms of investigating. But just make sure. And I also drink a ton of caffeine.
Oh, yes. We go with that as well. When we go investigations.
I have a little bit now.
Yeah.
You can see there. That's my little Pete's cup.
There you go.
Train wreck. This
I
show
figured
may not be brought to you by Canuck Seeds.
What do you have? Energy drink going on there?
No, it's beers tonight. It's Thursday. It is Thirsty Thursday.
It's Thirsty Thursday.
Yes.
I have a little bit of wine. So.
Anytime I do a podcast, I have to have beers. It's an excuse. Angela asked, shadow people, do they come from portals? I personally think that shadow people are just the way some of us see spirits. I don't think that a shadow person is any different than a white misty thing that other people see. I think it's just how we perceive them.
Really?
That's how I look at it. I've never been like, oh, there's like a nice wispy thing, and then there's a black shadow demon over here. I just feel it's a different way that we're witnessing them. It's all theory.
With our eyes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you feel like they're maybe presenting what they want to be look like to us?
That also could be. That also could very well be. The last time I encountered a shadow person was actually at the Detroit 6th Precinct. And it's still one of the scariest places I've been and encounters I've had. So I was there 2 summers ago, and I don't provoke, but I instigate. I'm like right below. And I only do it in certain places. If I'm in a jail or prison where it was filled with scumbag people, I have no shame because they didn't have any respect for people, so I'm not going to respect them as much. Take that as you will. Probably have a few new haters after saying that, but that's fine.
No, we get it.
But in this location, there's some known spirits that are there, and they're not very good people. So I had encountered one of them in the basement, and the basement has a shooting range in it. And I was down there with just a group of women using dowsing rods, and we were using, I think we had maybe a REM pod, some other things going to kind of cross corroborate and all that stuff. And I was asking questions, and then I started getting irritated. I could feel the presence around me. And I was asking, I finally asked, I said, did you abuse women? And it was a yes. And I said, you know what? You're just a scummy piece of garbage. I don't want to talk to you. And then I just felt all this energy come at me. And it was like, get out of here. And I said, oh, I'm going to go. So I went upstairs. And later on, a friend of mine was watching the Staticam live feed of the jail. And he said, oh, there's something going on in the cell block. Go check it out. And here's the thing. I get scared just like everybody else. But if there's a camera on me, you will not know that I'm scared. I won't lie. So I go in there, puff out the chest all tough. And the cell block at the Detroit 6th Precinct, it's 10 cells. There's 5 on each side. And at the very end of the corridor, there's a drunk tank. So I'm standing there. I've got my dowsing rods. I'm asking questions. And in one of the cells in front of me, I can see a mass in the back corner. And it comes towards the cells and then backs away. It's not a shadowy mass, but I can see, like kind of when the predator goes invisible and you can see the gaseous form. That's what I was seeing.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, dude. So I know you're in there. That's cool. And then I started seeing like soccer ball sized balls, like gold energy on the floor. I'm like,
wow.
This is when my psychic abilities were starting to kind of peak a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, I'm extra weird now. So I'm seeing these things and I'm like, all right, asking questions. And then I hear footsteps down in the drunk tank. So I go down the drunk tank. There's nothing there. Then I hear him at the other end. And I said, all right, listen, stop playing around with me. If you're here and you don't want me here, you're going to have to prove to yourself that prove to me that you are here and make me leave. And then I glanced towards the drunk tank, and in the doorway was a gigantic mass, a black mass in the door that filled this doorway, except around the head and shoulders, you could see behind it. And I was like,
yeah,
that thing rushes down the hall at me. And I just turn and I look and it went through me, and I felt the cold air and I felt the energy go through me. And I had that like, oh shit moment. And I know the camera's over there. So I just kind of like power walked out of there. I didn't go back in there that night. I went outside and I was like, holy crap. Like that's
like the woman with the arms on your head. Yeah, it's like, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. So I think that in going back to that, I think maybe it did show me that in that sense, because I was provoking it to. It's like, all right, you want to be tough? Like, I'll show you how I can look, and then go right through me. So, but being in a jail, it was a person that wasn't a very good person. So I'm not surprised it happened.
It's interesting you mentioned that predator-like clear, distorted outline. We did see that at a location once. We both saw it. And it was in the trees. Kind of like the predator, and it was creepy.
It was a terrible feeling.
There's weird things out there.
There is.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we're into what we are. So trying to explain it.
Angela, I'll come to Texas if you got drinks and barbecue. You say the word. I haven't been to Texas yet. I want to come down to Texas and do some places. So
come back to Texas.
Pretty sure the chickens have wings now.
I was just gonna say, make sure he gets boneless wings though.
Yeah, I have steak.
You just eat brisket and things like that. I'll eat all that.
Yeah.
Eat another animal. Anne-Marie Young asks how long you've been doing this.
Oh yeah, I'm way up there. So I've been investigating for about 20 odd years. In my own terms, not like the TV shows, but doing my research, trying to get answers and things like that for about 20 years. And I've been in what I'll call public eye for about 5 years now. So
it's great.
It's been fun. I'm just the past few years is when I really found my people. So that's why I'm much more public with it now. People are force-fed me much more than they used to be.
Well, there are really good aspects to the community too, and I mentioned the thing about the money and the grab, and there are people that are just really genuine about this. In fact, we've made some extremely good friends in the paranormal.
Like you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I love meeting like-minded people that do this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's the best. John, I'm actually going to agree with you on this one. That's weird, but
yeah, that's what we were talking about. He says they present themselves as to how they want to appear to us, and that is a good theory.
It actually goes with the stepping into roles as well.
Absolutely. That's another thing we talk about a lot is roles. And that's because there's always like the little haunted kid in the cemetery. There's the woman in white. There are all these stories that are in every town, the folklore of America and probably the world, really.
Yeah.
Definitely some of those women in white stories are worldwide. What do you think of that? Do you think that they sometimes want to follow those legends because they're known, or there's some kind of power in that?
I think a lot of times, especially with the urban legends and the folklores, I can say like I've dealt with enough residential cases in my earlier days. People want their house to be haunted. They want to be known as hey, I got a haunted house. Mm-hmm. So it made the job a lot harder for us to go in and be like, dude, I know you're faking it. So I think a lot of times with these legends and these lores, they did start somewhere, but I also believe that we are powerful enough to actually manifest these things too.
Yes, we are. We definitely agree with that.
We're thinking about it, like out of our peripheral plays jokes on us all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're believing like, oh man, I'm on this road is really haunted, I'm definitely going to see this, and you're going to probably see it because your mind is going to make you think you saw it.
Right.
Is that the case all the time? No, but I think a lot of these legends get blown up because of things like that. They do have to start somewhere. So at some point, somewhere, someone probably did have that experience.
Yeah, something like happened.
Yeah, the stories have legs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's usually a little truth to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's interesting that we see a lot of the same roles over and over. And I don't know if just human nature or what that is, or if it's actually them using that because they know we know those stories. I don't really know. Can't tell you. It's only speculation, right?
Everything's speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
No, I finally got my.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're just having some computer glitches over here. So, do you like ITC, and what do you like for equipment? What kind of stuff do you like to set up?
So, I've gotten I've really gone old school. I really like my dowsing rods. Mm-hmm. When I think to break out the pendulum and the mat, I like the pendulum. But what I do like to do when I'm using the dowsing rods is I like to have modern stuff with it as well. I use an EDI Plus quite a bit because it's a pretty good all-in-one tool. showcasing temperature changes and hot spots, cold spots, vibration, EMF, and all that. And it's, nice little package. I'll use either REM pods or like static dome with it as well. And it has worked so well together. There are so many instances where I've been doing the dowsing rods, and then I'll ask, where are you? And it'll point, and then the piece of equipment that's right there will go off at the same time. And it's nice to have that happen. And I don't record anymore. What I'll do is I'll live stream what I do, because I don't edit. I don't evidence review. It's just not something I'm ever going to do. And I know my limitations. So I've been able to really focus on the investigation versus filming, which has really helped me hone in on my skills too.
The filming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting rid of that makes me able to focus on the ghosts and in the location, instead of like, oh, is this angle correct? Did I get this? Because we all know you recording, you're not going to capture half the stuff you see, and you're so focused on filming, you're not going to see what's going on outside of the box of the camera.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, it can be a distractor. And I hear you with evidence review. Years ago, I used to be on teams, and our team is now Kristen and I. Yep. There were quite a few people on it, and you would just get all this data, and it would be just hours and hours. You got 30 hours of footage and shit to listen to, and like,
who wants to look at 8 hours of static?
It's yeah.
No. Yeah. Nobody does.
The footage is really tough, man. You got some black and white night cam going in an attic, and it's just like nothing but a dust orb, every 10 minutes floats by.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
No, we get it.
It's rough. I like the experience better, and we keep it simple. We do a lot of audio recording, and I do like ITC and spirit box.
I've gotten more into using the spirit boxes. I like the Estes method. I'm not fully sold on it, but for me, when I'm under, I either have the most profound session ever or absolutely nothing. I've never had one where I was like, yeah, that's okay. I either come out of it and I was like, I didn't hear anything. I either come out of it and be like, oh, you've been under for an hour. I'm like, excuse me, where am I?
Oh my goodness.
I had an out of body experience one time doing that.
Wow.
Which was absolutely bizarre. I was at a museum location, place down in the Cape, actually. And I was in a boiler room where they had all these reports of activity. And my friend, Todd from T&K Paranormal, they do their ST sessions a little bit different, which I absolutely love. What they'll do is we'll call each other on the phone, and he'll mute his phone on his end so he can only hear me, who's under. They'll be in a totally different part of the building asking questions. And whatever I'm hearing, I'm just talking out loud. I never hear what they're saying. And we've had some seriously profound experiences doing that. And I've done it with other groups that way.
Like that.
It's awesome. It's so different. And, they'll keep one person with. But I remember that particular night. We were streaming live on my page. And my girlfriend was watching. I had a bunch of, they were like, you need to get Matt out of this. Something's wrong. And they tried to wake me from it. And I wasn't answering them. I wasn't coming through. And I wound up being under, I think it was like 35 minutes or something like that. But I remember at one point looking down on myself as if I had like kind of astral projected. And it was such a fascinating experience. I don't know if it happened, but it felt like it happened,
So probably did. Your consciousness shifted. Yeah.
And I was like, and they brought me out of it. And I was like, what's going on? I was like, I just got under. Like, no, you've been under for a while. And I instantly got mad at everybody. I was like, first of all, I'm not going to die. Leave me alone. Like, I'm like, this is part of why I do this. Like, I need to push my own limits and I need to push the boundaries to really get some responses. So I was kind of upset with the viewer. I was like, listen, unless you see someone like shoot me, like, let me be.
Right.
But yeah, so it was interesting. And so I've really kind of dug into that. I haven't had a lot of experiences with like actual ghost boxes and portal boxes and all that stuff. Those to me, I don't fully understand enough.
Yeah, they're a little overdone. I don't really like the portal box and the reverb too much. I really just like the clear words.
Yeah.
I feel like it's bringing on apophenia by throwing reverb on everything. Although I've heard good samples,
Actually, we did have a good example with the Shay. So
yeah, but we didn't have the reverb going.
I thought we had the necrophonic going. Yes, we did.
The necrophonic is a different.
The reverb.
Yeah, I guess there's a little in the necrophonic, but the necrophonic does want to sound spooky. Now that was cool. What she's talking about, we had applications and like card boxes going, and we're getting the same stuff between them.
Oh, that
And,
sounds good.
in fact, Celine was up with us.
Celine was up there with us.
Yeah, and she had an app going, and it said drop on her app, and then it said it in the box. It was wild.
Yeah,
and then a chair collapsed, and our friend Shay, her mom Deb, was in his chair, and it just collapsed, and it looked like the chair was trying to eat her mother. It really, it was messed up.
It really was.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, we got some of that out on our Facebook site, Bigfoot and the Bunny. I don't know if we put it on Dark Horse, but Facebook/Bigfoot.com/
Wilson Castle. It was the world's largest ghost hunt. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a bunch of different locations all kind of hooked up that night. Have you been up there to Wilson Castle?
Wilson's one of my favorites. Yeah.
No,
it's cool. Isn't it beautiful?
It absolutely is. Yeah. I've done 3 or 4 events up there now. Documentary up there.
Nice.
They're the greatest people. Denise and Andy. They're the best. They're fantastic people.
Yeah, it's a very nice place, and most of the stuff inside is original to the family, which is unusual.
Architecture and loan is gorgeous.
The stained glass, just really gorgeous.
But we had a reaction with the coffin upstairs, the traveling casket.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all our
that's where we got all the activity. It was in the ballroom with that traveling casket put there. I think it had something to do with the casket more than the place.
Yeah.
The place is very unusual. There's rooms, especially on the first level, that actually give you a really good feeling. You walk in and feel like, wow.
Yep.
This is
the
awesome.
Art gallery, the energy in the art gallery there is just amazing.
The art gallery is where I had my very first real psychic experience, actually.
Really?
Is that right?
Yeah. I that year, so this would have been 2 summers ago. It would have been 2019. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think. It wasn't COVID yet. So yeah, it would have been 2019. Pre-COVID, PC. We were up there to film a documentary, actually, with John, who's probably eating bone-in chicken and can't touch the computer because his fingers are broken. But we were up there filming a documentary, and that year, I had a friend reach out to me who wanted to do some Reiki on me. She's like, "Oh, I can see this all," and I didn't believe in any of that stuff. I was like, "Yeah, whatever you want to do, wherever you are." But I put some belief in her beliefs, and she did all this Reiki on me, and we did all this kind of like spell work stuff. And I've never felt better in my life. I felt all this energy and weight lift off me. And I was and I actually became a much better person, and people noticed it. I was like, yeah, I feel much better. Like, I think I had all this negativity that was attached to me from a previous relationship and all this crap I had gone through. And then that was gone. And she warned me. She said, you realize now that your abilities are going to become much stronger because you don't have these blocks. So just beware when you're out ghost hunting now. Each time it's going to get a little stronger. And again, I was like, yeah, okay, buddy, whatever you say. And I was at Wilson Castle, and we were in the art gallery, and it was just a few of us. And someone was using dowsing rods. I was sitting on the couch. When you walk in, the couch on the right, I was just sitting there. I had my arm over the couch like this. And we had a couple pieces of equipment in the floor. We had like a Periscope 360 in the other room, out in the music room. And I could feel energy in that room. And I said, no, this is weird. And for whatever reason, I knew this energy was that of a child. I don't know why I know that. Kids gravitate towards me in real life because I'm a child at heart, and I'm just a goofball. So the spirits I've had the same interaction with. So I could feel this tense energy, and I put my arm out. I said, I can feel that something is here. If you feel more comfortable, you can take my hand. After about 30 seconds, I felt this electric energy swirl in my hand. And I was like, and I looked at them. I was like, holy shit, dude, something's holding my hand. And I was like, all right, this is weird. And 2 of the other people were in the other room, and they were being loud and obnoxious. And then I felt like this stinging. And I could tell that this stinging was like this spirit was scared. So I yelled at them and said, you guys, you can shut the F up and get lost. Like, go. And what do you? I said, just go. And they did, and the energy calmed down. So with the dowsing rods that they were using, we were asking some questions, and I surmised that it was a little boy. It felt like a little boy's energy. And we got that he was scared. He didn't leave that room. Something in the castle was scaring him and keeping him in this room. And all of a sudden, I got so drained that I almost fell asleep. And I said, hey man, I need to take a break. I gotta go outside. Like this is, and they could see it in my face. So I said, I'll be back. Don't be scared. We're here. You know, I will protect you while I'm here, but you need to give me a break. And we went outside, and I wasn't even in the mindset. And then everybody went back in to film upstairs, and I waited outside for a few more minutes, and I went back inside with them, and I went upstairs, and I sat on the couch where the caretaker passed away by the pool table years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was just sitting there, and I just started getting super angry. And I was just like, you know, screw these guys. And I don't know why. I had just met them the day before, so I didn't even have an opinion of them yet. I was like, screw these people. Like, what is this? And then they were trying to get out of the bride's room. And when the door wouldn't open, so I went over. And they go, what are you locking us in? I was like, no, idiot, the door was open. What are you talking about? And they looked at me, and they could tell something was wrong. So like, we need to get you outside. So outside we went, and I kind of just paced around. And then all of a sudden, it was like, huh, what's going on? And they were like, you all right? And I was like, yeah, why? And I was totally fine. I went up to that second floor before I fully recharged, and something up there, whether it be the caretaker or some other spirit that was just not happy, took me over. So I was like, all right.
It's like a mild possession. My God.
It was something, you know,
Yeah.
and I think it was an attachment. I used to get those all the time. Which Anne Marie, I'll answer your question about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we were going to bring that up.
Yep.
I saw that.
We wound up going back into the art room because I was like, I want to go back in there. And we were in there. And I said, all right, you know, I'm back. Feel free to take my hand. Instantly in my hand. I could feel it. Asking more questions. And same thing. I started getting super drained. And I was like, listen, like, I'm going to be here all night. You're safe. You can do what you need to do. No one will harm you. I said, but I have to go because I have no energy left. And I looked. And what I forgot to mention was when it first took my hand, I could feel the cold air. And I was able to see, it looked like if you had a little block of dry ice and it was just billowing smoke. That's what it looked like to me when I first saw this energy in my hand. And that's what blew my mind. I was like, holy crap. This second time when I was in there, the smoke had a reddish clay color to it. So it was even more pronounced. And I was just like, and I had my hand like you know, kind of like Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. I was like ready to show the cold. I said, hey, come feel this. And they put their hand in, they could feel how cold it was. Hey, Chris. So I got to the point where I was so drained. I said, listen, I got to go. I'll be back around. And I looked and I saw a little boy's hand in my hand and a little bit of his arm, like holding my hand. And my mind, it was like that Ancient Aliens, just like that GIF. Like, I was like, all right, like I'm done. I don't need to see anything else. I've done it all. And that whole experience changed how I saw a lot of things. Cause I was like, all right, maybe I do have these abilities. And that night I slept on the floor in the dining room, like on a couch pillow. It was horrific. But it was July. It was like 95 degrees in there. So I was like, whatever. I'm just, you know, and I'm the first one up in the morning. So I went to the fridge. I got my coffee and I was walking. I was going to go sit on the veranda. And as I'm walking through the music room, I heard a noise in the art gallery. So I kind of looked in. I said, oh, I heard you. Was that you from last night? And then I heard another noise, but I couldn't see anything. And I walked to the foyer right before you get in there. And right on the floor was a penny, a Canadian penny from 1996. I don't know if there's any meaning to it, but the thing is that penny wasn't there the night before because that's where we had all our equipment set up, and we picked it all up, and that penny wouldn't have been there. So I look at that as a gift from the spirit, like as a thank you. So I carry it in my wallet, and I still have it, and I think it's really cool. I want to make a necklace out of it. But that was the psychic experience I had up there. So that was my first weekend ever being there. So since then, I'm like, I love being there.
Wow,
That's
well, that's
awesome.
really
That's a
cool.
great experience.
That is a good experience and very good story. I see James Anito.
Thanks, James, hey buddy. Yeah, he tried to call me earlier. I'm sorry. I sent you a text. You didn't respond, but it's cool.
I gotta hit him up later. James, I'll
Yes.
message you later. Actually, we're trying to make some plans. Well, what else do we have? Oh yeah, Anne Marie. She was asking about attachments, and that's an intriguing subject. Do you think they get attachments anywhere and bring them home, or the homes and land more? What are your thoughts on attachments, Matt?
So early on, I used to get a lot of attachments. I didn't realize it at the time. For me, what an attachment feels like is just being on autopilot, or like you're kind of being a marionette puppet for someone else that's not you. And I've had them where I'm just miserable. I don't want to be around myself. And it's different than like depression. It's not depression because I've dealt with that as well. This is just something else where you just go through the motions. I used to, when I was, naive, I guess, I'd be that person walking, use my energy, do whatever you want, take what you need from me. Now I'm much more reserved and I say, you can use my energy, but you can't take it all. You have to stay here. I'm going to leave. You are not more powerful than me, all that stuff. But there are certain places, like I'll tell you, the Conjuring House. I've been to the Conjuring House half a dozen times. Every time I leave the Conjuring House, some fun little friend comes home with me for a day or two.
Oh dear.
And things are just different. And I'm like, man, like I gotta figure this out. It's never been to the point where I'm just this horrific piece of garbage human, but it's a different feeling, But I think that with the whole energy thing, we leave energy wherever we go. So there's no reason that someone can't hitch a ride from us and we go to another location. It's like, I'm going to stay here. I think that probably happens all the time.
Yeah, we agree with you.
We agree. We've had some issues with attachments and negative ones at that.
Oh, yes.
But they're not all negative. Like not all ghosts are negative. But it can be a kind of a bitch to get rid of. I really found the best thing was like not thinking about it. We got pretty obsessed on specific locations and events and data we had gotten. And the more thought energy we put into it, the more activity would pick up in our own homes. Revolving around it. And I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold.
Yeah, it was a big rabbit hole. So we kept, just
we couldn't get over it. Like,
I
can't believe we got to capture this data. Just talking about it constantly. We're doing sessions in our house.
And
we're doing them on the phone even when we're not together.
Yes.
Like, you should call me. And I got some of our best EVPs that way. It's just crazy. It sounds like there's a third person there involved.
Class EVP.
Nobody there. So, and it's a real thing. So do you have any kind of ritual that you do when you leave a location to just say, you stay here?
That's kind of all I do. I'll just kind of say like, hey, thank you. Appreciate your interactions. You're not allowed to come home with any of us. You need to stay here. We're going to leave. And whether that works or not, whether it's psychosomatic, seems to work.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like the whole placebo effect when, it's like, oh, these people took a placebo pill, but if it worked for them, then it worked for them. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Alexandra says, if you believe, you breathe more life into it. Yeah,
absolutely correct.
Definitely.
Their thought energy is a real thing. If you obsess on things, you can manifest it. Yeah.
You can manifest anything if you really put your mind to it, except money. That's not worked yet.
Yeah, that's worked
that works for some people.
Angela, cleansing. I don't really necessarily cleanse myself. I do sage and smudge my house all the time because I have a lot of stuff here. I do a lot of white sage, dragon's blood, and Palo Santo.
Yep, we do too.
We like
Palo Santo's my favorite.
Yep, we do. We love it too.
Like the Palo Santo. Yeah, that's good. I like the way it smells.
I do too.
Speaking of that, actually, one of the main things we wanted to discuss with you was haunted objects, because you have quite the haunted object collection.
That I do.
You want to tell us how you get started with that, and maybe tell us about some of the items you have?
Things. God, how do I get started? I think it started when I became more public with ghost hunting and everything like that. I've always been fascinated. One of my all-time favorite shows was Haunted Collector with John Zaffis, and I've been very fortunate enough to get to know John. He probably doesn't consider me a friend, but I consider him a friend, so that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. But I know I've been able to reach out to him for help with things before in the past, and he's been very instrumental with everything. So watching that show, I was like, oh, wow, there is a lot to this. Because you'd always hear about haunted this, haunted that. And for the most part, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe most people's things are haunted when they say it. Years and years before the Conjuring movies came out, I knew of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I've been following their work for years and years, and they used to do events at their actual house. They were called Warrenology, and it was $99. You go to the house. This was just after Ed had passed away, so this was mid-2000s. And you would hang out in Lorraine and Ed's house, and Lorraine would tell stories, and we watched the exorcism they performed, a cassette tape of the exorcism they performed in the 80s. And then you got to tour the actual occult museum in the basement.
Right.
Then you went to the grave where Ed was buried. They teach you photography, spirit photography. And then you went out to dinner.
Wow.
literally the most amazing experience. I went a couple times because I was like, this is awesome. The first time I went, there was like 8 people. No one knew who they were. And I got to spend real quality time with Lorraine Warren and talk to her and ask her questions and get these things. But seeing Annabelle and all those objects in their natural habitat, like, do I think Annabelle has the power to do everything that she's claimed? I really don't know. But I'll tell you right now, if someone gave me the opportunity, I would hold Annabelle and take the greatest selfie of all time.
Yeah, I would too, man.
Yeah, I don't think that
I would not.
I would absolutely. She could share my bed with me. Like it wouldn't matter. Like I love the idea of it, but I respect the fact that people have such belief to it too. So being in their museum, they've got other things in that museum that to me are much creepier than Annabelle is. But again, it's just because she's a Raggedy Ann doll. So
right.
But if we as a collective put all that power into it, who are we to say that we haven't given that thing that energy?
That's very true.
You have to believe in those things. So that being said, that's when I started becoming fascinated with all the haunted stuff because I've known about these possibilities for quite a while. And my ex had brought a few things by that were supposedly haunted, and then I was starting to go and be a part of more paracons and more events. So I was able to see other items and what, people were claiming to be haunted. And people started to realize like, oh, he's into this stuff. I got something that I don't like the energy of. I'll just give it to him. So I don't remember the first thing I got, but I've got 3 dozen things in this room that, enchanted. I say enchanted because haunted, they're not all scary. If they were all scary, I wouldn't have them in my house.
I like that.
I also don't think the objects are necessarily haunted 24/7. I tend to think all matter has the ability to hold consciousness because we're all kind of made of the same stuff, right? Yeah. There's a philosophy called panpsychism,
right,
that we're into and we like a lot, and it kind of explains some of the haunted object phenomena. Things like trees are a living being. They have a kind of consciousness. They're able to talk to each other through the mycelium, which is mushroom networks in the ground, and they know which ones are their offspring, and they can send nutrients
and they
different
cut
ways.
Off the other
and
saplings that aren't theirs. It's really
that's right.
cool.
And it's very interesting. Those are living things. So there's definitely a consciousness there, but we're basically talking about wood, right?
Yeah.
So can a ghost, maybe it's fond of a clock or something, inhabitate it at some point? I think it's totally possible. Yes.
Yeah.
And with what we all do within this field, anything truly is possible.
Yes, we agree.
We're never going to be able to prove it to any non-believer, though. Doesn't matter. We'd have the greatest evidence of anything, and there's still going to be a person that doesn't believe it. So that to me is fine. But I've got 2 steamer trunks in this room that are supposedly haunted. I've got one right behind me that's actually filled with supposedly haunted dolls, because where else am I going to put the damn things?
Right.
This trunk behind me.
A lot to unpack.
It was built in the late 1800s, and it was from East Bridgewater, actually. I went into an antique shop, actually an antique shop that was recently featured on Kindred Spirits. And I said, I introduced myself, say, hey, this is what I do. I look for weird, creepy stuff, anything that's haunted. And they said, well, we got a trunk here that's kind of strange. I said, okay. And they said, well, next time you come here, bring some equipment. I said, sure. And the next time I went there, I did a little low-key investigating through the place, not even thinking about this trunk. And I had a Mel meter in my hand, Mel meter with the built-in REM pod. And I was just kind of walking around, room to room, and then all of a sudden it pinged and it made it did the noise. I'm like, oh, I'm doing one of these, and I got to be about a beach ball size energy field, and it's just this room stuffed with stuff. And the guy comes over, he goes, oh, that's actually where that trunk is. I said, what? And it was underneath a bunch of things. So we cleared it all off. Get it closer. The trunk is giving off even more energy. And I said, well, guess what? I'm buying the trunk right now. I'm taking the trunk home. So the trunk comes with its own provenance. The guy who owned it, Lewis Hayward, his name is written on the bottom. Lewis committed suicide in 1897.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hung himself in a tree not far from where this shop is. And that, back in the late 1800s, that trunk would have been all your belongings, everything you owned would have been in the trunk, because people didn't have money back then. So he's attached to this trunk as far as I can tell. I've not had any negative interaction since I brought it into my house. So I can't say what happened, but I have all those stories. When I was in that shop, it gave off energy.
Wow.
I
That's interesting. So it was actually registering EMF on there, or was it the REM pod, or both?
It was both. Yeah. So that was like really cool because that doesn't happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, this is great. And then I recently got another trunk. A friend of mine, funny, another person in Bridgewater, the Triangle. I'm telling you right now, the Triangle.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Yes, we know.
So she had posted it on Facebook, like, oh, this, I want to sell this trunk, $100. Like I think it's haunted. It's been messing with my house since we brought it. And she tagged me. She's like, you want it? And I said, yeah, but I'm not buying it. She said, no, please just come take it. I can't have it in my house. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So I went to her house, and it was outside. Like it had gotten to that point. So she's telling me stories about how her ex had brought it into the house, and as soon as they brought it into the house, they started hearing footsteps above the bed in the attic. Her daughter's voice would be talking to her when her daughter wasn't there. All kinds of weird things that didn't make sense. And she was
that in my house.
She's like, my house was already haunted, and I get it, but this was a totally different level. Exactly. Ian knows what's up. So it was one of those things. And I went to pick the trunk up, and I picked it up, and I could feel the energy surge through my hands when I picked it up. I was like, oh, we're going to have fun with this one. So that one has my ghost hunting equipment in it, because how fitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
I have a big painting on the wall. It's just this woman. 2 summers ago, I was out antiquing with my daughter, and we went into an antique shop, and I went upstairs in the second level, and I walked through the door into this room, and I just felt something. I was like, ooh. And I said to her, all right, either this place is haunted or there's something in this room that's just giving off energy. And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. So I backed up. I took a picture of the whole room, posted it on Facebook. I said, not sure what's going on in here, but there's something. I had half a dozen people comment on that post that night. Oh, it's that painting. There's something wrong with that painting. You need to check out the painting. I'm like, well, I already left the store. So on our way back from the trip, we had stayed in New Hampshire for the weekend. I said, I didn't stop thinking about it. I was like, I need this stupid painting. I need this painting. So we went back to the store. I went upstairs, walked in the room, that same feeling, walk up to the painting, put the hands on it, and it was that same like electric charge. I was like, ooh, this is it. Took the painting off, went downstairs, and it's an antique shop run by 2 like 80-year-old people, husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to the guy, I said, man, want to get this? He's like, oh, do you know the person? I said, absolutely not. I said, but it's a weird story, but here it is. And I broke it down. He goes, yeah, okay. And he's like, I'll get my wife. And she comes in and, what can we do for this painting? And she's like, you know that? I was like, no. And I explained, I said, I have some weird abilities. I said, I'm a paranormal person. This thing's got some energy to it, and I just want it. And she's like, $30, it's yours.
Wow.
So I took it, and it's hanging in my living room, and
nice.
It's funny because out of all the stuff in here, when my girlfriend was over, she was here for about 5 weeks. That was the only thing she didn't like. It was the only thing she got a vibe from. Not even the doll, Ameline, or any of that stuff. It was just that one painting. I have over there also, I have a reel-to-reel cassette player from a funeral home in Salem. It's old. It's probably from the 40s and supposedly haunted. A friend of mine, Facebook friend, messaged me, posted about it, and he's like, it's too big. I want to get rid of it. It's I think it's haunted. I was like, oh, sign me up. I met up with him one day, picked it up, and it was way bigger than I expected. This big, stupid thing I have no room for. And it was just sitting on my floor and right behind where I'm sitting right now for a while. And I was setting up for a podcast one night, and didn't that lid slam shut? But I looked, and the lid had already been closed. It wasn't there. But something made that noise as if that lid was open, and it slammed. And I felt the air on my leg. I was like, oh,
wow.
Well, this thing's got some friggin' energy to it, too. So but I think that by putting everything together, like besides the fact I've created a giant Dybbuk box that I live in, it's happy here. It's getting attention. Like I walk around here, like for one, I'm one of those people that talk to myself all the time anyways, but I talk to what is here as if they are visible to me.
Yes.
Give them the respect.
Exactly. That's exactly the word I was going to say. Just give it all, give them
all.
What
people want. That's it. They just don't want to be forgotten. And
right.
I have a rocking horse over there, one of the old ones from the 40s that it was in, if it was in a friend of mine's daughter's house when they bought it. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, they couldn't get rid of it. but they also wouldn't go near it. It was just in the basement. And they got these vibes from it, and they kept seeing a man around it. Her daughter is very psychic, and she's psychic as well. I had gone to her house because she had this thing she wanted out of her house. I was like, yep, here I come.
See ya.
And I was actually on the way to the Conjuring House. So on the way to the Conjuring House, I picked up a haunted doll and a rocking horse. And I'm like, here we go. Let's bring it in. But like I was like, she's like, oh, my daughter has this thing across the street. Like, if you're interested. And I was like, I don't, what am I gonna do with a rocking horse? I don't want to buy it. She's no, they just want you to take it. I'm like, all right, what the hell? I'll just take it too. Like Angela, I'll get to a funny story about something not liking my girlfriend. We'll get to that. Building up to her. So, I mean, I'm just glancing around at what else I have in here, but I have 2, 3, 4, 5 Ouija boards right next to me that supposedly have attachments. One of them that was supposedly thrown away, and he found it in his closet after all the years, that kind of story.
Yeah.
And one of them, the only reason I paid for this one, and the only reason I did is because this woman wove such an incredible story. I said, you know what? Like, I just have to own this thing. I don't even care if you're telling the truth at this point. It was this story. It was on Facebook. It was on some sort of a page that, I had 36 people tag me in. So I was like, all right, whatever. I guess people know what I like. But supposedly 20 years ago, her and her boyfriend had bought a house to flip. And up in the attic, they found this Ouija board and all these creepy dolls and all these sigils painted on the ceiling. So they're like, yeah, we got to get rid of this stuff. So they threw it all away. First night in the house, they hear scratching up in the attic. They don't know what it is. And they're like, yeah, we'll check it out in the morning, thinking it was a squirrel or something. They go up there. All the dolls are set in a circle around the Ouija board on the floor, that all the stuff they had supposedly thrown away.
Come on.
Yeah. So now they freak out. They take all these things, all the dolls, they smash, they break, they rip, they throw them in the bag. They rip up the board, throw it in the bag, throw it in the trash. And the next day, trash is taken. They hear noise upstairs. They go upstairs. The Ouija board's back. The dolls are back, and they're all put together. So,
oh my God, come on.
Supposedly, the dolls have gone to someone that deals with that stuff. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get anyone for the Ouija board. Now, this is about, again, like 20 years ago. So they took the Ouija board, and they put it in a storage unit and left it in a storage unit for 20 years, and basically paid for a storage unit just for this Ouija board.
Oh my God.
So this story, I'm reading the story. I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm just, oh, thank you, Debbie. I wish my girlfriend felt the same way. She gets so pissed when I tell stories because I try to be thorough. She's also heard all these stories, so that's why she's not even watching the podcast tonight.
No.
So she's telling the story. So I messaged her. I was like, hey, what's up with your Ouija board? And you'd think I was applying for a job at the White House. She wanted all this background. Well, I need to know that it's someone that can handle it. And I was like, lady, like this is what I do. Like I said, and I dropped the John Zaffis. Like, I can call him if I get screwed with it. Like, I know all these things. She's like, oh, I want to check your stuff. I was like, go ahead. Here's all my social medias. And she got back to me and she's like, there's a slight rehoming fee. I just want to make sure that I was like, whatever. What is it? And she's like, $50. I'm like, I don't even care at this point. Take the $50. I just want the board. Like, I like Ouija boards anyways. Uh-huh. So I go meet this woman in Boston one day. And I'm just laughing. I'm sitting there. I'm at like a park. I'm just waiting. I'm like, this is ridiculous. The things I put myself into. and I see this car roll up with like a whole family in it. and it's this woman. And she gets out. And this Ouija board is wrapped in a sheet, like a bed sheet, maroon bed sheet. And it's got all these hand-drawn sigils all over the bed sheet. And she's like visibly nervous. She's like, this is it. It's wrapped in this. We were told to put, protection sigils that keeps everything in. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, here's your money. And she's like, just please be careful. I was like, yep, I got it. Don't worry about it. So I bring it into my Jeep. I'm sitting there. Like, I'm not feeling much from it. Like, I can feel a little bit of energy, but I'm just like laughing. I'm like, man, she told a great story. Just made $50 off me.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, well, now I need to see what this thing's all about. So, of course, I open it up. And it's one of the stupid glow-in-the-dark ones from the 90s.
Oh wow, yeah.
I have no idea why all these 90s glow-in-the-dark ones are the ones that are always haunted. I'm like, what were kids doing in the 90s? I don't get it. So, and I've used it. I set it up, and I was like, let's use the demon board. Nothing ever happened. But I wrapped it back up, and it's got a cool story. So, it is what it is. But
have you noticed anything with it since you had it home?
No,
No?
like I have a lot of like I like the art of a Ouija board. I don't feel that they work for crap. I've not had many good experiences with them. I've had some times where they work a little bit. I've done them solo with my eyes closed and had actually pretty good interactions with them, spelling things out when I can't actually see.
Wow, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's one of those like, oh, you can't do it alone. Watch me go.
Yeah. So much.
Like
Oh,
those rules were written for Hollywood. There's no
Oh, my beer.
exactly. You know, like I'm that person that will push those boundaries. But no, I've not had anything happen bad from a Ouija board. And one of my favorite pastimes is commenting on people's posts when they say Ouija boards are demon boards and all this stuff. I'm like,
yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah,
how is it any different?
I like the art myself too. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, they're fantastic. You know,
necessarily a demon portals.
we got one
But
of
anything
the
can-
oldest ones, right? Was the first made?
It's not one of the oldest ones, no, but it's pretty old. Yeah,
Obviously, I don't.
One that was made in Salem. It's older, a little older one.
William Fuld. Yeah.
so Salem was 67 to 69.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, they moved from Baltimore in
technically-
summer of 66.
But I don't know what year they started making them, but they go date back further than that.
1890.
1890. Wow, there you go.
Thank you.
So we don't really use it. It's more a display item than anything.
I hardly use mine because I don't.
I've never had like great luck. I've never had like the planchette fly off the board or anything
Yeah.
dramatic like that.
No,
It's never happened.
Hi, Holly. You didn't get enough of me the last hour. But yeah, I mean, so I got. I'm trying to think what else I get before I get to the grand reveal. I have. Actually, I always forget about these guys. I have a couple of African masks.
Mhm.
Nice.
They might have been the first purchases I made that wound up. They were inadvertently haunted. I had bought them at an antique shop down the Cape a few years ago. And I was just poking around. It was what is it? The Big Buddha Antiques in East Falmouth or something like that, or Pink Elephant, one of those places. And I was walking around, and there was just this pile outside in the enclosed area of masks, and I was like, "Oh, those are kind of neat." And anyone that's ever looked at the tribal masks, they're usually ridiculous money.
Yes.
And far from affordable. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to afford these. But I went inside and I said, "Hey, what's up with these masks outside?" And, "Oh yeah, no, those just came in." And she's like, "Oh, what ones are you looking at?" So I actually kind of like these two. She's like, "Oh, how about $40 for both of them?" I'm like,
Wow.
well, sign me up. So they wrapped them up in the paper, put them in a paper like grocery bag.
Mhm.
I was actually at a convention in P-Town that weekend, so I didn't get home until the next day. Came home late night, set the bag on the kitchen floor, bedroom's off the kitchen, laying in bed trying to get to sleep. It's like 1 a.m, and I start hearing like rustling in this bag. Like when you take groceries out of the bag, that friggin' noise that it makes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The paper.
But it's not supposed to make that noise when no one's out there.
Right. On its own. Right.
So I sit there and my eyes go about as wide as possible. And I'm just like, what the friggin' hell's going on? And it's just rustling. And I look at my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, "You gonna go check that out?" She's like, "Nope." I'm like,
Hell no.
I'm good. Ain't doing it.
Nope.
Got up the next morning and nothing had moved. The bag was still, nothing had unwrapped, but I was like, all right. And I remember I posted about it. So a friend of mine had mentioned that masks need to have a purpose. This is something I didn't know. I just liked them as artwork. They needed a purpose, like a protection or an overview. So what I did was I hung one in the kitchen looking at the door going out, and I hung one looking into the kitchen. So as you go out, it watched you. And I never had an issue since then.
Wow.
They've never done anything else. Now they hang in here because I've gotten a few more. So I have them in my living room. But no issues.
That's great.
That's pretty cool. Got to have a purpose.
Yeah. I guess like anything, So.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the way.
Well, yeah. So I guess we'll get to the good one. They're all good in their own way, but we have Ameline.
Oh, yeah. She's a bit spooky.
She is.
Looks like she's had a rough week.
Yeah.
She's had a rough life, this one. So I absolutely adore this doll and this vessel. So this is actually a working noose. You look at her eye; it's all rusted out and wonky. She's got this, this tool around her, the old dress, no shoes or anything like that, painted toes. This doll came to me via a friend. Again, a person that knew I collected weird crap. Messaged me on a Saturday and said, hey, I know you deal with this stuff, but somebody left this in my truck, and I don't know how long it's been there or why it's there.
Oh, boy.
And he sent me this picture, and I'm like, well, that's freaking weird. And he's an older guy. He's in his late 50s at the time. So I'm like, that's real weird. And he's like, yeah, do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I said, why not? And he said, all right, let me talk to my wife, see what she wants to do about it. I said, no problem. You know how to get a hold of me. I'm here if you need me. I didn't hear anything for about a month. I get a message from him. Hey, if you still want that doll, I need you to come get it today, or I'm going to have to burn it. And I said, all right, well, what's going on with it? And he goes, I don't know. He's like, I haven't taken it out of my truck. It's exactly where it was. He said, but since it's been there, my mother-in-law's passed away. My best friend committed suicide. The whole family's arguing. And this isn't how that family is. They're very, very nice, happy-go-lucky family. So, like, just a whole run of bad luck since this was in his possession.
It sounds like it was placed there as a kind of curse.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I said, yeah, man, I'll come and get it. And I remember it was a Saturday, and I had my daughter with me. And we went and met him at State Park near us. And I brought some sage and everything just to put his mind at ease, sage his truck for him and all that. And I remember I opened the cab and saw her, and I was like, well, okay, then. That's
Yeah.
And I picked her up and kind of got that, like, tingly energy from it. And I was like, all right, just put her in the back seat, smudged his truck, and say, hey, thanks, man. Best of luck. And that was that. Now, what I normally do when I get a new item is I'll go Facebook Live, debut it. We'll run some equipment, and it's worked out so well in the past where I have all these viewers that will help me determine and figure out what things are. Like with this doll, they figured out what it was, and that was great. And I've had the same luck with other stuff. So I didn't go live for a few days. In the few days that she was in this house untouched, I was not right. Like, it wasn't an attachment, but I'll tell you right now, I was miserable. I didn't feel well. I was upset, angry, irritable. And I think it was a Tuesday. I was like, man, I gotta go live with this thing. Because what I would do is after I'd go live, then I smudged the absolute hell out of anything that I brought in the house.
Yeah.
Kind of like, hey, man, you're in my house now. This is my rules. So she had the run of the roost for a bit. So we went live. I was running an Ovilus and some other things. I had a few different psychics watching. And the first thing that it said was amaline. And I was like, that's a weird word. And I looked up, and it was a French word that means hard worker. I said, oh, okay. French. So I said, all right, amaline is what that's your name, amaline. And a few other words that popped up were New Orleans and water. So now we've got a French, we've got New Orleans, and we've got water.
Yeah.
I'm thinking voodoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the psychics messaged me, and they said that's got a voodoo, like, curse or binding thing.
Yes.
To get the exact words.
Yes, it does.
And I said, all right, well, what can I, because I was like, I want to take this noose off. And I was told by 3 separate people, do not take the noose off.
No, you're not supposed to.
And of course, I'm that one. I'm like, oh, but what if we do it? And I didn't. I never did.
Bad.
As we're sitting here, we're getting these interactions, and I can feel, like, just circular swirls of energy around me. And I'm by myself. I'm home alone at this point. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. And one of my psychic friends messaged me. She goes, the energy in your house is off the chain right now. And I said, yeah, tell me about it. And we were doing some more readings. And then all of a sudden, computer dies. Everything goes down. TV goes off. And I'm just sitting here in total silence with this freaking thing on my lap. And no viewers, no, like, fake support, anything. I was like, oh, God damn it, it's over. So but then all of a sudden the energy went flat and everything was gone. So then I pulled the broadcast back up. I got it back up. I waited for people, and that same psychic messaged me. She goes, the energy is fine in your house now. I said, yeah, I don't get it. And she said, well, whatever is attached with this vessel, this doll of yours, just wants attention. If you give it that attention, everything is going to be fine. And to me, it makes total sense because I'm an attention seeker myself. So I think that it was meant to find me. And we vibe really well. So she's got the best seat in the house. She's right next to me, watch the TV, all that. I talk to her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I do take her to conventions. I've not flown with her yet because I don't want to stuff her in a suitcase, but she comes to conventions with me. And to go back to something I had mentioned to Angela earlier about being jealous of my girlfriend, this one was. So when I started dating my girlfriend a little over about a year and a half ago, she made it very known, because we were, a remote. She lives in Scotland. It's a distant relationship. She didn't like. She didn't get good vibes from me. She's like, "Oh no, she's creepy. Like I don't know." And I had, I was dealing with what wound up being an attachment, and I had a psychic friend of mine reach out to me randomly. Another one said, "Hey, you all right? Because I'm sensing like some things." I said, "You know what? I don't feel well at all." And she goes, "All right. Do you mind if I remote view your place?" Same thing. I'm like, if you can actually do that, you go right ahead. And she messaged me. She goes, "Why am I seeing a very upset older woman pacing around? She won't let me see her face, but she's really mad and pacing around your place." And I'm like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Do you have something there that has a kind of an energy to it?" And I was like, "I think so." And I showed her a picture. And she goes, "Yeah, what happened?" Like she's very jealous of something. And I said, "Oh boy." I said, "Well, I just got in a new relationship." She said, "That's what it is." She said, "You need to make amends because it's not gonna be comfortable." And I'm just like, "Oh, great." Like, so I said to my girlfriend, I was like, "Hey, thanks a lot, for kicking the hornet's nest that I live in. And now you're safe in your castle over in Scotland or wherever the hell you live. And here I am." So and she didn't even believe in it, but I said, "Listen, like," I was actually very upset with her. I was like, "You need to cut the shit and respect it. Whether you believe it or not, you need to respect that this could be a thing, because I do." And that kind of calmed down a little bit, which was good. And it was fine. And nothing ever came of that. But there's been a few instances with her that I took her to Parafest, Maine 2 years ago. My daughter went with me that year. And we had her with us, and I had her in the Jeep. We were in Portland. We were eating lunch before we headed home. A different friend of mine, psychic, messaged me. She goes, "You've got some sort of real dark energy with you right now. It's not an attachment, but it's really close to you. And it's with you." And I just kind of laughed to myself. I was like, "Oh boy." I said, "Yeah, what do you think it is?" And she's like, "What do you have with you?" I said, "Well, I'm up in Maine." And I said, "I have this." And she goes, "Oh, what the hell?" She's like, you got to get rid of that. You can't have that." And I said, "First of all, I'm never getting rid of it." And she's like, "I know that about you, but like, you really need to." She's right there. And I said, "Well, I take her with me." She gets the attention. And she's like, "Well, you just need to be careful." I said, I'm careful. I give her attention. I make sure she gets, what she wants out of things. And I'm not one of those people like, "Don't touch her, you're going to get cursed." I'm like, "You can take all the pictures you want, but if something happens, it's on you." So but there are people, they either do or they don't come near her. And I love that. I get a kick out of that. So,
yeah.
Quite interesting, but
yeah, it's a little terrifying,
it is. And what we found out about this,
and keep her happy, but at the same time, you're giving her attention. So it's a little two-way.
It's give and take, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. But we found out, Eagle Eye viewers helped me determine what this. It's the doll's from 1957, and it was a line that they came out with called Grannykins, and they were made to look like grandmothers. And they actually had a grandfather one that looked kind of like Elmer Fudd, which was really weird looking. Like, I found it online. When she was new, she kind of looked like Mrs. Howell from Gilligan's Island. She got like nice earrings in here and stuff.
Oh, really? And she hasn't aged well.
No, she's rough, but she is what, 70?
So, looks to be a little off her meds and maybe in the liquor cabinet. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, she's had a rough run.
Yeah.
There was
another Nathaniel out there says, "Holy hell, it's my family from Rhode Island." What's up, Nathaniel Gillis, our brother from another mother. Liz Milne says, "Wow, a voodoo doll probably has a figure attachment in it. That fall looks creepy, especially with that rope around the neck." Yeah, I agree. The rope is a nice touch.
Yeah. Yep. That's what keeps her there. So we keep her nice and happy. She's gone to a lot of, I've actually started taking her to haunted locations and taking pictures with her there too, because it freaks people out.
Of course you do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So
God, we love you. You are so funny.
Oh, that was pretty good. That is kind of kind of the piece de resistance, I think, of your collection. Right?
It is. And, everyone has a haunted doll. So I'm not that. I don't want to be that person. I've had her for 3 years. It was actually 3 years. A couple of days ago, I got the time hop on Facebook. And I just I bring her to conventions and lectures and things like that. But I don't she doesn't have her own Facebook page, her own Instagram, because it's just ridiculous. So she's just a part of my collection and what I do. And I had another instance with her. One of the psychics who would help me with her before, she messaged me one night. It was late too. And again, it was the night I was by myself. And she goes, "Everything okay?" I said, "Yeah, why?" She goes, "You don't hear someone screaming at you?" And I was like, "What the hell kind of question is that?" And she's like, I'm seeing this very upset older woman right next to your ear screaming at you, trying to get your attention.
Wow.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, because of your abilities, she's trying to get your attention." And I was like, "First of all, what abilities? Because I don't want that." And she's like, you need to do something. And it was tied with this. And I remember we used Konzari cards. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I'm not familiar with them.
No.
What are they?
So Konzari, it's Konxari. I think that's how you pronounce it. They're like a tarot deck mixed with Ouija. And they originated in ancient Egypt around the same time as tarot cards. Mm-hmm. But tarot cards became popular and these fell by the wayside. So they're not very well known. A friend of mine had posted about them one day, and I was like, "Oh, those are cool. I want to get those." So I got those, and I had never done anything with them. There's weird, you have to set them out in a certain pattern, flip them, and write things. There's a lot to it, but they're very unique.
Sure.
So I decided when I said, "All right, well, maybe I'll try and contact with this screaming friggin' thing via the Konzari cards." And however we were flipping the cards and going through it, it actually was making sense with what was going on. And then that all stopped. And she had messaged me a few days later. She goes, "Oh, things are better, aren't they?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "What'd you do?" I said, "I don't know. We had a session and I tried to communicate." And she's like, "Whatever you did worked." I'm like, I don't understand all this stuff. I'll never fully understand all this stuff. I kind of do what I'm guided to do because I trust some people. Mm-hmm. And, I make mistakes along the way like the rest of us, but I do believe in a lot of stuff that other people shake their head at.
Nope, we agree. We're right with you, and we understand you completely.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. How do people get in touch with you? They want to follow you and know what Paranormal Explorers are doing. Where do they go?
Warner Paranormal Explorers. We're on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. I have personal accounts on all those as well, so you can find us. I generally update. I just post pictures on Instagram. That's what it was meant to be. So that's what I try to do. I post pictures of places I've investigated, that I've taken, and YouTube's got older content on it. TikTok is a place where I've actually been doing a lot of my live videos from. I do a lot of live investigations. And actually one thing I'm going to be starting up is live investigations of my haunted/enchanted items. Because I haven't done it in a long time. And I think TikTok's a cool platform for it. So you can give me a follow on TikTok as well. And I've got some documentaries I'm going to be filming this year with some friends. So a lot of cool things coming up.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. And keep us in a loop with your location.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as I can post about that location, that'll be everywhere.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
can't wait
to head over and
to
help you get some data.
Yeah.
Angela, I'm on every other social media too. You'll find me. I'll be there for you.
Excellent. Yeah, our audience had a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Liz, Daniel, buddy, Angela, Heather, all sorts of folks.
Debbie Wallace Hagen, we love you.
Heather, thank you for
Young. All you guys, thank you so much. Sam, Ian,
James Anito,
James, thanks.
Nathaniel J. Gillis.
Hello, and
Sandy.
If it weren't for all you folks, we wouldn't have a show. So
that's right.
We love you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely keep in touch. We're going to get together and do some investigating.
Sounds good.
Yes,
love to.
Please. Thank you again.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
So that was a lot of fun.
Wicked fun.
That was cool. Yeah, that's all.
Glad we met him.
Definitely had a rough week.
Yeah,
I love that story.
Didn't get a bad vibe from her. So
no, I didn't get really a good one.
Well,
but
yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. Like we were saying earlier, next Thursday, Dark Horse is off. We may or may not have like a pre-recorded show, so check it out whatever platform you're watching. Saturday night for a Bigfoot and a bunny, we have Katie and Katie Stafford joining us, and Katie Stafford is an ITC buff. He's making us a ghost box.
Yes,
crazy cool. The
toy.
Nanocom. It's actually the Nanocom 2, and I guess it's the first one of those. And you may know him from Travel Channel's Ghosts of Morgan City. As part of that team, I believe he's the ITC consultant, and his wife is named KT.
Yes.
Katie.
So there's a K
D and a K
and a KT.
So they'll both be joining us. So that'd be fun. They're a paranormal couple. Supernatural Inc. is their company that makes these boxes, and they do lots of investigating and really cool and a lot of fun. We're gonna have some laughs. So that'll be on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Wherever you're watching us now, you'll be able to see us then as well. So you guys stay safe out there.
Yes.
Be well, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks again.
Thank you for joining.